6 months ago, my sister begged me to co-sign a car loan because her credit was temporarily bad. Last week, that same car was repossessed from her driveway at 3 a.m. And yesterday, my mortgage lender called to tell me my credit score had dropped 147 points. My name is Daniel. I am 31. I live in Chicago, Illinois. I work in it, steady salary, no debt, decent savings. For the first time in my life, I felt ahead. I had been pre-approved for a starter home on the north side. Nothing fancy, just mine. Then I trusted my family. My sister Madison is 34 and lives in Dallas, Texas, single mom, 2 kids. Her life has always been loud and slightly chaotic, but I told myself she was just unlucky. After her divorce, she called me crying, "Danny, I am trying to rebuild. I just need reliable transportation for the kids." I found the perfect SUV. Her credit score was under 580. Mine was 782. They said if you co-sign, the rate drops almost 4%. I swear I will make every payment. This is just paperwork. I hesitated. I knew better. But then my mom from Los Angeles called. Family helps. Family, Daniel, your sister has nobody else. You do not even have a family of your own yet. You do not understand what it is like to struggle. That line stayed with me. You do not have a family of your own, as if that made my future negotiable. So I signed. The dealership in Dallas processed everything electronically. I never even saw the car in person. A silver SUV with leather seats and a panoramic roof. Madison sent photos of the kids smiling in the back seat. First month payment on time. Second month 10 days late. She texted me before I could ask. Payroll issue, already handled. Third month, I received an automated email from the lender. Payment past due. I called her immediately. It is fine, she said. My new job just switched direct deposit dates. Stop worrying. I wanted to believe her, so I did. Then at 3:12 in the morning, my phone lit up on my nightstand. I never ignore notifications that late. When you are in the middle of a mortgage application, every alert feels serious. Subject line, vehicle repossession initiated. For a second I thought it was spam. Then I opened the app. 3 consecutive missed payments. Repossession order executed. I sat upright in the dark, staring at my screen. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. At 7:30 a.m., Madison called me, sobbing. They took it, Danny. They literally took it from my driveway. The kids saw everything. It was humiliating. You have to call them. You have to fix this. Madison, I said carefully, how many payments did you miss? Silence. Then she whispered. It was only a couple. I called the lender myself. The representative in a calm voice told me the account was 90 days delinquent. Multiple notices had been sent. No response. I never received a single call from Madison warning me it had reached that point. After I hung up, I logged into my credit monitoring account. Refresh, I actually thought it was a glitch. I refreshed again. I had been in underwriting for a home purchase. My lender in Chicago called me that afternoon. Daniel, we need to pause your application. The recent delinquency changed your risk profile. Pause, such a polite word for no. That night, I called Madison again. Why did you not tell me? She sounded tired, not apologetic. I thought I could catch up before it got serious. It is serious. My mortgage is on hold. She exhaled sharply. You work in it. You make good money. It is not like this ruins your life. I remember going quiet, not because I didn't have words, but because I suddenly understood everything. To her, my credit score was not my future. It was a cushion. To her, my income was not my effort. It was insurance. I was not her little brother in that moment. I was a backup plan with a social security number. That is when the guilt shifted into clarity. I asked one last question. If I had not checked, would you have told me? She didn't answer directly. I was going to handle it, but she had not handled it. The car was gone, my credit was damaged. My house was slipping away, and the worst part was not the money. It was realizing that the phrase family helps family had quietly turned into family sacrifices you first. That was the night I stopped seeing this as bad luck. It was a choice, and I was the one paying for it. Update 1. When my original post blew up, I expected criticism. I didn't expect what I found next. Thousands of strangers told me the same thing. Check everything. Freeze your credit. Pull the full report. Don't assume the damage stops at the car. So I did. I sat at my kitchen counter in my apartment in Chicago, laptop open, coffee untouched. I requested all 3 credit reports. I told myself I was just being thorough. That I would confirm the SUV was the only problem. It wasn't halfway down the report, under revolving accounts, I saw a credit card I didn't recognize. The bank was based in Texas. The balance was $4218. Status delinquent. My stomach dropped. I clicked the account details. Authorized user, added 6 months ago. My name. Same month as the SUV. I read it 3 times because I thought I was misunderstanding the wording. Authorized user meant someone had added me to their credit card. That alone wouldn't normally hurt me. But this card had late payments tied to my profile. The activity was reporting under my credit file. I called the bank immediately. The representative confirmed the primary account holder was Madison. Yes, sir, you were added as an authorized user in March. The account is currently 90 days past due. I never agreed to that, I said slowly. There was a pause on the line. You would need to dispute that directly with the account holder or file a fraud claim. Fraud, the word felt heavy in my mouth. I hung up and called Madison. She answered on the 3rd ring, already defensive. What now, Danny? You added me to a credit card. Silence. It was just to help boost the limit, she said casually. It isn't a big deal. There is over $4,000 unpaid. It is reporting under my credit. You co-signed the car, she replied. You are already involved. That isn't the same thing. She sighed like I was being unreasonable. You signed paperwork to help me. This is part of that help. Don't make it dramatic. I felt something shift in my chest. Did you ask me before adding my name? No, because I knew you would overreact. I stood up from my chair. I could hear my own breathing getting heavier. Madison, this is not overreacting. This is my financial record. Her tone sharpened. You make 6 figures. I am trying to keep the lights on. Stop acting like this ruins your life. There it was again. My income as justification. My stability as permission. I am calling the bank to dispute it, I said quietly. The line went cold. If you do that, she said, her voice low now, you are basically accusing me of fraud. I didn't authorize it. You signed for the car. You are responsible. Do not blow this up. Blow this up. As if I had not already watched a tow truck take my credit score down the street. I ended the call and stared at the wall for a long time. My reflection in the dark television screen looked tired. Not angry, just tired. That evening, my mom from Los Angeles called. Daniel, what is this I hear about you threatening your sister? I am not threatening her. She added me to a credit card without my consent. She is struggling, my mom said sharply. You are her brother, you don't call the police on family. I didn't call the police. You are talking about fraud claims. Do you realize what that could do to her? Yes, I said. Do you realize what this has done to me? She didn't answer that directly. Instead she said, you are being heartless. Your sister is already drowning. You are going to push her into bankruptcy. The word hung there, bankruptcy. As if protecting myself was cruelty. After we hung up, I sat in silence. The house I had hoped to buy flashed through my mind. The approval letter, the floor plan, the small backyard. Was I being too harsh? Was I choosing money over family? Then I opened my credit report again. I looked at the late marks stacked in red. I remembered the lender telling me my application was paused. I remembered Madison saying it wasn't a big deal because I make good money. This wasn't about money anymore. It was about consent. It was about the fact that she made financial decisions with my name attached and never told me. The next morning I called the bank back. My voice was calm. I need to remove myself as an authorized user immediately, I said. And I would like to begin a formal dispute regarding how I was added. The representative explained the process. Affidavit documentation, investigation. As I wrote down the steps, my phone buzzed again, a text from Madison. If you do this, don't expect me to forgive you. I stared at the message. 6 months ago she cried and said she needed my help to rebuild her life. Now she was threatening me for trying to rebuild mine. For the first time since all of this started, I felt clarity instead of guilt. Family helps family, but family doesn't quietly sign your name to their debt and call it love. Update 2, I didn't go nuclear immediately. I went to a lawyer first. A friend at work referred me to a consumer protection attorney in Cook County, Illinois. I walked into his office carrying a folder with printouts of my credit reports, loan documents, and screenshots of text messages. I still hoped there was some misunderstanding. He read everything quietly, then looked up at me. Did you ever give written or verbal consent to be added to that credit card? Number, did you sign anything beyond the auto loan? Number, he leaned back in his chair. Then you need documentation. Every message, every call log, anything that shows intent. Intent, that word stuck with me. Up until that moment, I had been framing this as irresponsibility. Late payments, poor decisions. Bad luck. Intent meant planning. So I went home and opened every text thread I had with Madison going back a year. I searched keywords. Car card. Payment. Help. Then something strange happened. A mutual acquaintance added me to a group chat to discuss a birthday dinner for a friend in Dallas. Madison was already in the thread. At some point, someone tried to forward a screenshot as a joke. They sent it to the wrong chat. It popped up on my phone at 11:47 p.m. A screenshot of a private conversation between Madison and her friend Alyssa. I stared at it for a full minute before I understood what I was reading. Madison wrote, "Danny has an insanely high credit score. If I miss a couple months, he can cover it. He hates confrontation anyway." Alyssa replied with a laughing emoji and "just do not tank his score too hard." Madison responded, "Relax. He will handle it." The timestamp was 2 weeks after we signed the SUV paperwork. 2 weeks, before the first late payment. I felt cold all over. This wasn't panic after a missed paycheck. This wasn't temporary hardship. This was calculation. I scrolled further back in our own messages. Around the same time she had sent me photos of the kids in the back seat, saying, "You saved us." Saved us, but that SUV had not been sitting quietly in a school pickup line. I pulled her public Instagram, 2 separate weekends in Las Vegas. Poolside photos, rooftop bars, same silver SUV visible in the background of one shot. The caption read, "Finally living again." The kids were not in those pictures. I forwarded the screenshot to my attorney the next morning. He called me within an hour. "This changes things," he said calmly. "That message demonstrates awareness and intent to shift liability to you." I asked him the question that had been building in my chest for weeks, "So I am not overreacting?" "No," he said plainly. "You are responding to deliberate financial exposure." That afternoon, I froze my credit with all 3 bureaus. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. I placed a fraud alert. I filed a formal identity theft affidavit regarding the credit card edition. The paperwork felt surreal. You don't expect to fill out fraud documents about your own sibling. When Madison found out, she called immediately. "You actually filed a report?" she demanded. I removed myself from the card and initiated a dispute. I replied evenly, "You are unbelievable," she said. "After everything I am dealing with, you do this to me? After everything you did to me," I said. "You still think this is about you?" She went quiet for a second, then her tone hardened. "You are a traitor. Danny. Family doesn't drag family into legal issues." I thought about the screenshot, the laughing emoji, the casual confidence that I would absorb the damage. "Family doesn't plan to use each other either," I said. She hung up within hours. My mother texted, "I cannot believe you would humiliate your sister like this." Humiliate. As if the humiliation was not mine when the lender paused my mortgage. As if the embarrassment was not mine when I realized my financial stability was treated as a resource to be tapped. Relatives began choosing sides. A cousin messaged privately to say I was right but did not want to get involved. An uncle told me to forgive and move on. Madison blocked me on social media and posted a vague status about betrayal and selfish men. My mom stopped calling altogether. Silence replaced the constant pressure. At night I would replay that screenshot in my head. The confidence in her words, "If I miss a couple months, he can cover it." It reframed everything. The tears on the phone, the urgency, the shame about the tow truck. None of it was shock. It was inconvenience. For the first time since this started, I wasn't confused. I was not guilty. I wasn't questioning my own boundaries. I was grieving, not the money, not even the credit score. I was grieving the version of my sister I thought I had. The one who needed help. Instead, I had been an insurance policy with a pulse. And once I saw that clearly, there was no going back. Final update: 3 months after the screenshot, the official letter arrived. I knew what it was before I opened it. Madison had filed for personal bankruptcy in Texas. I sat at my kitchen table in Chicago, holding the notice while the radiator clicked behind me. The document was clinical, almost polite. It listed her debts, the accounts to be discharged, the case number, the SUV loan was there, and right under it, in bold language that felt heavier than the paper itself, it stated that the co-signer remained fully liable. That co-signer was me. I called the lender the same afternoon even though I already understood the answer. "Yes, Mr. Walker," the representative confirmed calmly. "With the primary borrower filing bankruptcy, the remaining balance is now your responsibility." "How much?" I asked. "After auction proceeds from the repossession, the deficiency balance is $9,800. $9,800. Not a round number, not dramatic. Just precise. I stared out the window at the gray Chicago skyline and did the math in my head. That was almost exactly what I had set aside as a down payment supplement for my house. 5 years of slow investing, careful budgeting, automatic transfers into index funds. Gone. I asked about payment plans. The rate wasn't generous. The damage to my credit would remain unless the balance was satisfied. That night I logged into my brokerage account. I scrolled through positions I had built patiently since I was 26. Tech Index. Dividend Fund. A small growth stock that had doubled over time. I clicked sell. The confirmation email felt like a quiet funeral. The funds settled within 2 days. I wired the full $9,800 to close the deficiency. I wanted it clean. I wanted no lingering tie to that loan. When the account finally showed zero balance, I expected relief. What I felt instead was a strange mix of grief and clarity. I had lost money. I had lost the house I was supposed to close on that summer. My lender had already moved on to other applicants. My file was marked withdrawn, but I had gained something I didn't realize I needed. Proof that boundaries are expensive. But chaos costs more. Madison texted once after the bankruptcy filing. "You forced my hand," she wrote. "You left me no choice." I didn't respond. There was nothing left to explain. We were no longer arguing about misunderstandings. We were living the consequences of decisions. I blocked her number a week later, not out of anger. Out of preservation. My mom didn't call for almost 2 months. Then one Sunday afternoon, my phone lit up with her name. I considered letting it ring. Instead I answered. "Hi, Mom." Her voice sounded smaller than usual. "Daniel, I need to say something." I stayed quiet. Madison asked me for money again. She admitted. She said it was temporary. For rent this time. I didn't react. I gave it to her, my mom continued softly. And then she asked for more. There was a long pause. "I think you were right," she finally said. I kept telling myself she just needed help. But it never stops. I closed my eyes. I didn't want to be right. I replied, "I wanted her to be responsible." "I am sorry, I called you heartless," she said. I didn't understand what she had done. It wasn't a dramatic reconciliation. No tears, no big speeches, just a quiet acknowledgement that the narrative had shifted. Since then I have been rebuilding my credit slowly, on-time payments, secured card usage under 10%, automatic reminders for everything. It isn't glamorous work. My score is climbing, but not fast, clean, though every month that passes without a late mark feels like a small brick laid correctly. Friends ask if I regret helping her in the first place. I regret ignoring my instincts. I regret believing that love requires financial exposure. But I don't regret drawing the line when I finally did. Family isn't a license to sign someone else up for your mistakes. Family isn't a safety net you cut holes in because you assume it will hold. I used to think being a good brother meant absorbing damage quietly. Now I understand that being an adult means protecting your own future, even when it disappoints people. I am still in Chicago. Still renting the same apartment. The housing market has shifted again. Maybe next year I will apply for a mortgage. Maybe I will not. Either way, the next signature I put on a financial document will only represent one person. Me. I am no longer the easy fallback plan. I am not the quiet co-signer in the background. I am the one who sets the terms, and for the first time in this entire story, that feels stable.